But how do you build the greatest center of knowledge the world has ever seen? For Ptolemy I, the answer was simple. Collect every book, every scroll, every piece of knowledge that could be found. After his death, his son, Ptolemy II, continued that extraordinary vision. And so the Library of Alexandria began to take shape. It was not just a building, it was a royal institution, a place where knowledge was protected, studied, copied, and shared. Its mission was unlike anything the ancient world had ever seen: to gather the wisdom of every civilization, from Greece, from Egypt, from Persia, from Phoenicia, from Asia Minor, and from every land their ships could reach. Royal agents were sent across kingdoms in search of valuable manuscripts. Their mission was clear: find knowledge, acquire it, and bring it to Alexandria. Every scroll was considered a treasure, every manuscript a piece of humanity's memory. Alexandria soon became one of the busiest ports in the ancient world. Merchant ships arrived daily, carrying grain, wine, spices, gold, and sometimes something far more valuable: books. According to several ancient sources, when ships entered the harbor, officials searched for manuscripts. If they found one, it was taken to the library. There, expert scribes carefully copied the text. The copy was returned to its owner, while the original manuscript was often kept for the royal collection. Some historians continue to debate how widely this policy was enforced, but one fact is beyond doubt. The rulers of Alexandria were determined to gather as much knowledge as possible. Collecting books was only the beginning. Many manuscripts arrived in different languages: Greek, Egyptian, Hebrew, Aramaic, Persian, and others. Teams of skilled translators worked tirelessly to bring this knowledge into Greek. For the first time, ideas from distant civilizations could be studied side by side. Knowledge was no longer confined by language or borders. The library was becoming something the ancient world had never imagined. Not simply a place to preserve the past, but a place to create the future. Soon, the greatest minds of their age would arrive here: mathematicians, astronomers, physicians, philosophers. Together, they would transform Alexandria into the intellectual capital of the ancient world. Every great story begins with a dream. In the 4th century BCE, one man changed the ancient world forever. His name was Alexander the Great. Within only a few years, his armies conquered an empire stretching from Greece to Egypt to Persia and beyond. But Alexander wanted more than military victory. He wanted his empire to be connected not only by roads and armies, but by ideas. In 331 BCE, he founded a new city on Egypt's Mediterranean coast. Its name was Alexandria. Its location was almost perfect. To the north, the Mediterranean Sea; to the south, the Nile River. Within decades, ships from across the ancient world arrived here. Merchants brought goods, travelers brought stories, scholars brought knowledge. Although Alexander did not live long enough to see his vision completed, the city continued to grow. After his death, his empire was divided. Egypt came under the rule of Ptolemy I, and it was under his leadership that an extraordinary idea began to take shape, not simply to build the greatest city, but to build the greatest center of knowledge the world had ever seen: of Alexandria.
Imagine if humanity lost its greatest collection of knowledge. not in the digital age, not in modern times, but more than 2,000 years ago. A place where the wisdom of Egypt, Greece, Persia, India, and countless other civilizations was gathered under one roof. A place where brilliant minds changed the course of human history. And then it disappeared. Was it destroyed by fire, lost in war, or did it slowly fade away over centuries? For more than 2,000 years, historians have searched for the answer. This is the story of the Library of Alexandria. For centuries, people have asked one question: who destroyed the Library of Alexandria? Was it Julius Caesar, the Romans, or someone who came much later? In 642 CE, Arab Muslim forces, led by Amr ibn al-As, captured Alexandria. It was a turning point in the history of Egypt. Centuries later, a famous story began to circulate. According to this account, the remaining books of the library were destroyed after the conquest. Some versions even claimed that the scrolls were burned to heat the city's public baths. It is one of the most well-known stories ever told about the library. But there is a problem. The story does not appear in the earliest historical records. The first known written versions appear centuries after the conquest, not by eyewitnesses, not by people who lived through the event, but by authors writing hundreds of years later. For historians, that matters because the closer a source is to an event, the more valuable it usually becomes. When a story appears many centuries later, it must be examined with great care. Today, many historians conclude that there is no reliable contemporary evidence showing that the library was destroyed during the Arab conquest of Alexandria. That does not mean every question has been answered. It simply means the available evidence does not allow a certain conclusion. By the time Alexandria came under Muslim rule, many researchers believe the great royal library had already declined or disappeared after centuries of wars, political upheaval, economic decline, and neglect. If any collections still remained, their size and location are unknown. History does not always give us clear answers. Sometimes the truth is more complex than the legend. Instead of one dramatic moment, the evidence suggests a long process of decline, one crisis after another, one generation after another, until one of humanity's greatest centers of learning was gone. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not who destroyed the library. Perhaps the real mystery is how much human knowledge was lost. Ideas, discoveries, books, voices that may never be heard again. And that brings us to the final chapter, not about how the library was lost, but about what humanity lost with it.
History rarely ends with a single catastrophe. More often, great civilizations fade little by little, almost without anyone realizing what is being lost.
The Library of Alexandria appears to have followed that path. After Caesar's campaign, Alexandria remained one of the greatest cities of the Roman world. Scholars continued to teach, students continued to learn, and knowledge continued to flow through its streets. But something had changed. The Ptolemaic kings, who had invested enormous wealth into scholarship, were gone. Egypt was now a province of Rome. The priorities of a vast empire were different. Military campaigns, politics, taxes, administration. The library was no longer the center of royal ambition that it had once been. Without constant support, even the greatest institution begins to weaken. Thousands of papyrus scrolls required constant care. Papyrus does not last forever. Humidity, heat, insects, mold. Time itself slowly destroys every manuscript. Unless new copies are made, knowledge can disappear without a single flame. Generation after generation, scribes had copied ancient texts, but as resources declined, fewer manuscripts were replaced. Little by little, parts of the collection may have been lost forever. Then, another crisis arrived. In the 3rd century CE, the Roman Empire entered one of the most unstable periods in its history. Civil wars, economic collapse, foreign invasions. The empire struggled to survive. Alexandria did not escape the chaos. Around 270 CE, Emperor Aurelian launched a military campaign to regain control of the city. Heavy fighting damaged large sections of Alexandria, including the district known as the Brucheion, the royal quarter where many historians believe the original library had once stood. No surviving ancient source explicitly states that the library was destroyed during these battles, but many historians consider this another possible blow to an institution that had already been weakened over generations. By now, the story had become very different from the legend. There was no single day when all knowledge vanished, no single fire that erased everything. Instead, the evidence points towards a slow and painful decline, a decline measured not in hours, but in centuries. Each war left scars. Each political crisis reduced support. Each generation lost manuscripts that could never be replaced. Until, one day, the world's greatest library had quietly become a memory. Yet, one final mystery remained. Centuries later, a new story would emerge. A story claiming that the library met its end during the Arab conquest of Egypt. It is one of history's most famous and most debated claims. But does the evidence support it? Or does legend have become stronger than history? That question leads us to the final controversy. The year was 48 BCE. Alexandria stood at the center of a political storm. The kingdom was divided. Queen Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy XIII
were locked in a bitter struggle for the throne. Into this conflict arrived one of history's most famous generals, Julius Caesar. Caesar had not come to destroy Alexandria. His immediate goal was to stabilize Egypt and protect Rome's interests. But events quickly spiraled beyond his control. Soon, Caesar and his soldiers found themselves surrounded, outnumbered, trapped inside the royal quarter. Behind them, the sea. Ahead, an advancing army. The situation was desperate. To prevent enemy forces from capturing his fleet, Caesar made a critical decision. He ordered several Roman ships in the harbor to be burned. The flames spread rapidly. Wooden vessels became walls of fire. Thick smoke rose above the harbor. The battle had turned into chaos. But then, history asks a difficult question. What happened next? Did those flames reach the Library of Alexandria? Ancient sources agree that the fire caused significant damage around the harbor district. Some accounts describe warehouses filled with goods being destroyed. Others mention large numbers of stored scrolls lost in the fire. However, none of the earliest surviving accounts clearly state that the entire library was destroyed during Caesar's campaign. That distinction is important, because over the centuries, the story grew larger. Later writers claimed that Caesar's fire destroyed the library itself, but modern historians approach those claims with caution. The earliest evidence does not allow such a certain conclusion. Another question raises even more doubt. If the library had been completely destroyed in 48 BCE, why do later records continue to describe Alexandria as one of the greatest centers of scholarship for generations afterward? Many researchers believe that at least part of the library or its scholarly tradition continued to survive. Perhaps Caesar's fire destroyed valuable collections. Perhaps thousands of scrolls were lost. That alone would have been a devastating blow. But for many historians, it was not the final chapter. It was one chapter in a much longer story of decline. The fire eventually burned out. The battle came to an end. Cleopatra secured her throne. Caesar left Egypt. But Alexandria would never again enjoy the same certainty it once had. The greatest library in the ancient world had survived another crisis. Yet its future had become far more uncertain. The centuries that followed would prove even more destructive than fire itself.
No civilization collapses overnight. Its decline begins long before anyone notices. The Library of Alexandria was no exception. For generations, it stood as the greatest center of learning on Earth. Scholars continued to arrive. New manuscripts continued to fill its collections. The pursuit of knowledge seemed unstoppable. But beyond its walls, the world was changing. The Ptolemaic kingdom was no longer as stable as it had once been. The rulers who had invested in knowledge now faced a different challenge.
Power. Political rivalries grew stronger. Court intrigues became common. The struggle to protect the throne often became more important than protecting learning. Institutions like the Library of Alexandria depend on stability. They require resources, patronage, peace, and leaders who believe that knowledge is worth preserving. When those things begin to disappear, the decline often begins in silence. Yet, Alexandria still remained one of the world's greatest cities. Its harbor was crowded, its markets thrived, its scholars continued their work. From the outside, the city still appeared unstoppable. But history often changes long before people realize it. Far to the west, another power was rising, a republic whose influence expanded with every victory: Rome. One kingdom after another fell under Roman control. Its armies grew stronger, its ambitions grew larger. Eventually, their attention turned toward Egypt. Egypt was more than a wealthy kingdom. It was the breadbasket of the Mediterranean. Its fertile lands fed millions. Its ports controlled vital trade routes. Whoever ruled Egypt held enormous economic and political power. Inside the royal palace, another crisis was unfolding. Members of the Ptolemaic family turned against one another. Brothers fought brothers, sisters challenged brothers. The struggle for the throne became increasingly violent. The kingdom that had once built the greatest library was now consumed by internal conflict. And then a young queen entered the stage of history, Cleopatra VII. Brilliant, ambitious, and determined to secure her throne. But she could not do it alone. Her struggle would soon draw in the most powerful man in the Roman world, a general whose decisions would forever be linked to the fate of Alexandria. His name was Julius Caesar, and with his arrival, the destiny of the library would change forever.
A library is only as powerful as the people inside it. And the greatest treasure of Alexandria was never its scrolls. It was the minds that filled its halls. From every corner of the ancient world, scholars journeyed to Alexandria. Some came to teach, others to learn. Many came to ask questions no one had ever answered. One of them was Euclid, a mathematician whose ideas would outlive empires. Very little is known about his life, but historians believe he taught in Alexandria during the reign of Ptolemy I. There, he wrote one of the most influential books in history, The Elements. It was more than just a mathematics book. It was a new way of thinking. Every conclusion had to be proven. Every idea had to follow logic. For more than 2,000 years, students across the world learned geometry from Euclid's work. Even today, many of its principles remain the foundation of mathematics. Then came another remarkable mind, Eratosthenes, scholar, geographer, astronomer, and eventually chief librarian of Alexandria. He asked a simple question: how large is the Earth? Without satellites, without aircraft, without modern instruments, he compared the shadows cast by the sun in two different cities. Using geometry, he calculated the Earth's circumference. His answer was astonishingly close to modern measurements, more than 2,000 years ago. Alexandria was also changing the future of medicine. Herophilus studied the human body with extraordinary care.
He argued that the brain, not the heart, was the center of thought and intelligence. His observations helped lay the foundations of anatomy. Another physician, Erostratus, expanded the understanding of the nervous system and the movement of blood through the body. Although many of their writings have been lost, their discoveries survived through later scholars. And then there was Arachticus of Samos. Centuries before Copernicus, he proposed an extraordinary idea. Perhaps the Earth was not the center of everything. Perhaps the planets, including Earth, moved around the Sun. His theory was far ahead of its time. Most people rejected it, but history would eventually prove how visionary his thinking had been. Every day inside Alexandria, ideas were tested. Arguments filled its halls. Old beliefs were questioned. New discoveries were born. Knowledge was not simply protected, it evolved. That is why many historians see Alexandria as something far greater than a library. It was one of humanity's first great research institutions, a place where curiosity was valued above certainty, where questions were powerful than tradition. For generations, its light shined across the ancient world. But no golden age lasts forever. Beyond the walls of Alexandria, new powers were rising. Empires were changing. Politics was becoming more dangerous. And slowly, almost unnoticed, the first shadows of decline began to appear.
Imagine walking through the gates of Alexandria. Not as a king, not as a conqueror, but as a scholar, searching for knowledge. No one knows exactly what the library looked like. Time, wars, earthquakes, and centuries have erased much of its story. What historians know today comes from ancient writings combined with archaeological research. Together, they reveal the most likely picture of one of history's greatest institutions. The library was far more than shelves filled with scrolls. It was an intellectual city, a place designed for thinking, for learning, for discovery. There were reading rooms, lecture halls, long colonnades where scholars walked while debating new ideas, quiet chambers where scribes worked from sunrise until nightfall. Every corner served a single purpose: the pursuit of knowledge. Thousands of papyrus scrolls were carefully stored inside wooden cabinets. Each scroll was protected because everyone understood what was at stake. If a manuscript was lost, its knowledge might disappear forever, perhaps never to be written again. That is why copying manuscripts was considered one of the library's most important tasks. Professional scribes spent countless hours producing accurate copies, not for profit, but for preservation. They knew that memory was fragile, and civilization depended upon protecting it. But another challenge soon appeared. How do you organize tens of thousands of scrolls? How does a scholar find one manuscript among so many? The answer came from a remarkable scholar. His name was Callimachus. He created a massive catalog known as the Pinakes, meaning the tables. Many historians consider it the world's first large-scale library catalog. Authors, titles, subjects, and locations. Everything carefully recorded, making knowledge searchable centuries before the invention of paper or printing. Imagine arriving from a distant land, looking for one text written by one author. Instead of searching blindly,
a librarian could guide you directly to the correct collection. More than 2,000 years ago, this was an extraordinary achievement. Beside the library stood another institution, the Mauseon, the Temple of the Muses. It was not a museum in the modern sense. It was a community of scholars. Many researchers lived there, studied together, shared meals, debated ideas, observed the stars, performed experiments, and challenged one another's thinking. For many historians, it represents one of the earliest models of a research university. Here, questions were welcomed, curiosity was encouraged, evidence mattered, ideas were tested. Knowledge was not simply preserved, it was created, day after day, year after year. Soon, Alexandria became the brightest intellectual beacon of the ancient world. The greatest minds of their generation were drawn here: mathematicians, astronomers, physicians, philosophers. Their discoveries would influence human civilization for thousands of years, and their stories were only just beginning.
Knowledge does not travel on its own. It moves with people, with merchants, with travelers, with explorers, and with scholars who dared to cross the known world. By the 3rd century BCE, Alexandria had become the crossroads of civilizations. Every sunrise brought new ships into its harbor. Some arrived from Athens, others from Rhodes, Cyprus, Phoenicia, and distant lands beyond the Mediterranean. Across the deserts, camel caravans carried precious cargo, not only gold or spices, but something far more valuable: ideas, stories, and handwritten scrolls. Today, we can download an entire library in seconds, but in the ancient world, every book had to be written by hand. Every line, every sentence, every page, copied with extraordinary care. A single manuscript could take months, sometimes years, to complete. Each scroll represented countless hours of human effort, which meant every manuscript was priceless. The rulers of Alexandria understood a simple truth: if knowledge was not preserved, it could disappear forever. Entire discoveries, entire histories, entire civilizations lost because no one copied them in time. That fear became their greatest motivation. Royal collectors searched across kingdoms for rare manuscripts. They visited cities, temples, private collections, and schools. Whenever they found a valuable work, they tried to acquire it. The goal was ambitious: to create the greatest collection of knowledge ever assembled. Ancient writers also describe another remarkable practice. Some visiting ships carried books belonging to merchants or scholars. According to several historical accounts, these manuscripts were temporarily taken to the library. Professional scribes carefully produced an exact copy. The owners received the duplicate, while the original was often added to the royal collection. Modern historians continue to debate how consistently this policy was followed, but there is little doubt that Alexandria was relentless in its pursuit of knowledge. Collecting books was only part of the mission. Understanding them was equally important. The library became home to teams of translators: Greek, Egyptian, Hebrew, Aramaic, Persian. Many languages, one purpose: to make human knowledge accessible. For the first time, ideas from different civilizations could speak to one another under a single roof. Slowly, Alexandria became more than a library. It became the meeting place of civilizations, a place where knowledge was not only preserved, but transformed. Yet, one question remained. How could anyone organize tens of thousands of scrolls? How did scholars find the knowledge they were looking for? The answer would change the history of libraries forever.
More than 2,000 years have passed. The great Library of Alexandria is gone. Its walls have vanished. Its shelves have disappeared. Its scrolls have turned to dust. But one question still echoes through history. What did humanity lose? No one knows exactly how many scrolls the library once contained. Ancient writers gave different numbers. Some spoke of hundreds of thousands. Others claimed even more. The truth has been lost with time. Perhaps within those shelves were discoveries that never reached future generations. Scientific observations that disappeared before they could be copied. Works of philosophy that challenged everything people believed. Poems, maps, medical knowledge, histories of civilizations that no longer exist. We may never know what was silently lost. Yet the true legacy of Alexandria was never just its books. It was an idea, a belief that knowledge belongs to everyone, not to one kingdom, not to one culture, not to one religion, but to all of humanity. For centuries, scholars from different lands worked together. They translated, they questioned, they debated, they learned from one another. In a world often divided by power, Alexandria became a place united by curiosity. Today, our libraries look different. Our knowledge is stored on paper, on servers, in digital archives, and in clouds of data. We have more information than any civilization before us. But one lesson remains unchanged. Knowledge must be protected, because when knowledge is lost, the future loses part of its past. The story of Alexandria is not only about a vanished library. It is a reminder that civilizations are remembered not only for the wars they fought or the empires they built, but for the knowledge they chose to preserve. Empires rise, empires fall, cities are built, cities are destroyed, but ideas can survive for thousands of years if we choose to protect them. Perhaps that is why the Library of Alexandria still matters today, not because its walls still stand, but because its dream still lives, the dream that every discovery, every question, and every piece of human knowledge is worth preserving. The library may be gone, but its message remains. Knowledge is humanity's greatest inheritance, and protecting it is the responsibility of every generation. This was not just the story of a library. It was the story of humanity's endless search for knowledge, and that story is still being written.